conduct the interview with Mish. Mish has been promoted, so welcome to Face again. And over to you, Blake.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and thanks for kicking off the show, Ryan and Steve and K-Man. Really appreciate you guys. Mish, Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you and everybody.
Yeah, so it's good. It's good to see. I'm gonna go ahead and take the screen from here. So thanks, guys. And we're gonna get started with talking about what's moving, this new year. And I mean, let me ask you this about Venezuela. Did any of that catch you off guard over the weekend? And if it did, what are you thinking right now?
Well, it didn't really catch me off guard for a couple of reasons. One is Trump tends to be pretty transparent about his intentions, whether he actually achieves them or not. Usually, at least we know he gives it a good old college try. So he'd been talking about Venezuela for a while. Now, of course, he's talking about Colombia, Cuba, Greenland. So we've got to keep our eyes on all those things. And secondly, in terms of the price in the market, we were starting to see XLE and that whole energy space move up last week ahead of it, which also kind of gave you a clue because we know, right? The market's always smarter than we are. The price is what really kind of gives you the heads up. So yeah, now we're here. So let's see what happens from that point. I mean, one of the things that you and I was having sort of a deja vu, Blake, about last year and the year before, and I think even the year before that, was our January conversations about what the year of is according to Chinese astrology.
Yes, yes, and you put together a big presentation regarding that. Yes.
I did. And what's so interesting about this year is that, of course, it doesn't start officially until February 12th, but it is the year of the Yang Fire Horse. And what's so interesting about that is if you think about last year, which was a water snake, the snake basically did exactly what snakes do in terms of the market. I mean, it coiled, it hissed, it jumped, it went peacefully, and it wound up shedding its skin. That's what we're seeing now, making room for this fire horse. Now, why is that interesting to me? Number one is we haven't had a fire element in the market since 2018. It's been water. Fire generally means a lot of volatility, but a lot of risk taking, a lot of prosperity feelings. So we're already starting to see that. And secondly, if you look at the nature of a horse, they tend to gallop and they tend to buck. That's where the volatility could come in. And of course, these are metaphors, but they make sense. And finally, if you look at the last time, Blake, that we had this exact same situation in terms of how the elements and the animal all lined up, it was 60 years ago.
Oh, okay. Now I'm going to have to go look at it 60 years ago, what it looked like historically.
Oh, well, I can give you a couple of real big highlights from 66, right?
Yeah.
1966, first of all, we had the Chinese Cultural Revolution. Now, if we look at 2026, China's very much in the news, not just with Taiwan, but really what's going to be the backlash of what's happened here with Venezuela and our sort of putting our foot down and saying, this is our territory, stay out. In 1966, we had the Vietnam War escalating. Well, certainly, again, going back to geopolitical situation, we could start to see some types of escalation depending on how bold our country remains. And another really big area in 1966 in terms of innovation, we had number one, the artificial heart was invented and used for the first time in 66. So
Wow.
biotech is a real big area to look at. In terms of media, it's so interesting. Disney died in 66, and now all of a sudden Disney is a stock that I really have on my radar for this year. And culturally, let's just talk about the Cultural Revolution. Forget about the Chinese. I mean, in the United States, it was really the start of a younger generation rising up and saying, we don't like the status quo, right? I mean, you can call them hippies or whatever you want, but it really impacted music, art, culture, and politics. So we may see the Gen Z and younger become more active because they have been very quiet. So I love all of that because it gives you sort of an idea of kind of what to look for and not be, like you asked me at the start of question, too surprised at whatever happens.
Yeah. And well, that last point you made about the Gen Zers. I mean, this is I have nephews and nieces that are in their 20s, early well, mid 20s to early 30s right now. And they are very hopeless. I mean, the ones that don't, and there's a couple that actually don't own like homes, that, they're just getting killed by inflation. They're definitely on the wrong side of the K-shaped economy. And you made a point that they've been relatively quiet. They have been. Do you think that's going to funnel its way into U.S. politics? I believe it's going to reshape U.S. politics over the course of the next decade. So what are your thoughts there?
Well, just let's take a look at New York, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Mondami, I mean, he's 34 years old, and he was definitely put there by mostly a younger generation. They were very excited about having somebody young and somebody who's talking whether or not he can actually achieve any of this, but more of a socialist type of agenda, really, because what the young people are thinking is, we need help. We need help with the job market. We need help with housing, as you mentioned. The cost of things are high. So that could be something that could percolate as we get more into midterm elections. We'll see. And that, by the way, is another real volatility maker in this year and every midterm election. The markets tend to get jarred. And by the way, in 1966, it turned out to be a down year. And so even though we've got some major bullish type of calls for this year, we don't really know exactly what's going to happen, and that's so far away. All I know is for right now, we have a couple of interesting things to look at. Number one, of course, is just to see, I heard, I guess it was K-Man say that you have to really kind of be a little bit patient here as we get into January. I think you want to look at maybe the first 10 trading days, you get a range, and then you can see what's going to prosper and what isn't. But, it's all the same things. We're going to watch the dollar. We're going to watch the rates. We're going to watch inflation numbers. We're going to watch, obviously now, oil and the impact of that. And right now, all my Modern Family members are sort of sitting there, sort of waiting to see what happens next. Like I'm really looking right now at IWM, because if we're going to get any kind of real economic growth in this country, we need to see those small caps can not only continue to hold up here, but rocket to new highs.
Yeah, wasn't it funny that IWM or the Russell 2000 used to be the mid caps, but now they're just pretty much the small caps? Everything's the small cap next to NVIDIA and the likes.
Yeah, although there are still some small and mid caps. And what's interesting is one of the things that marketgauge has is a lot of algorithmic models. And the small to mid cap model that's based on earnings got out of a lot of tech and more into some of the consumer space, especially the vanity space, which of course, I've been all about that, which is the domino effect from the diet drugs and a new thinner generation that is coming up now because of them. And of course, the big news last week that Novo Nordisk has it in pill form, which makes it more affordable. So they're getting into stocks like that and less so into the smaller cap or mid cap tech stocks. I think that's interesting too.
Yeah, that is. Let's dive a little bit more into the markets. Like when you've been a precious metals bull for like literally for the last several years, but even the times that I've had you on, me personally, and we've talked and we've had discussions, you've been extremely bullish silver, extremely bullish gold, but the price action the last couple of weeks, has that deterred your thoughts after such an epic run? I mean, like I said, you've had some epic calls over the last couple of years. I know it's easy to look back and say, well, there's a lot of, precious metal bulls out there, but you were, specifically very much so. But how do you feel about precious metals where they currently reside?
Well, first of all, let's go back to our year of the double fire horse. Technically, that tends to be bullish for metals. So I don't think that we're going to see any kind of major correction on either the silver and gold, but that doesn't mean that we can't go through a period of consolidation. I'm still bullish. Silver got to 75, which was my first target, by the way. And so I'm not surprised that it overshot and now is kind of trying to figure it out. It's trading at around 74 right now as we speak, 74, 75. And gold, my initial target was about 4,500. So we kind of got there. So I think right now I'm looking more range bound, perhaps a little bit, but I would not discount them going higher. I actually started buying more crypto last week. Uh,
Really?
yeah, the whole company bought IBIT. I bought it personally as well, but also bought XRP and Ethereum because I believe now that, well, I saw it as what I was calling a coiled spring because you were getting that range between 85 and 90,000 in Bitcoin so tight with so much whale buying and whale selling and the volume was increasing. That's exactly the type of physics you want for something more explosive. And now we're up around 92, 93 in Bitcoin, and you're looking at XRP, right? It's at about 211, 212. I think that that we may see some of the speculative money. Remember, this is a year where speculators are going to feel bolder coming back into the crypto market. We certainly have a ton of legislation coming up that's really going to impact the market in about 10 days. There's going to be a bunch of votes, not only on whether or not strategy, formerly known as MicroStrategy, stays in the S&P 500, or what happens with the SEC. We know that we have a very crypto friendly administration. So I'm not saying I'm not bullish in the metals, but if you're looking at something in infancy, and I know that sounds strange when you're still at 92,000 in Bitcoin, but compared to where it was and its potential, I think we've got some there. Obviously,
All right.
yeah.
Yeah. So, well, the thing is, when I look at crypto, and if you're on the long side, you know where you're wrong. And as any trader, that's really all we want to know is where we're wrong, right? I mean, because we undoubtedly as traders are going to be wrong, and statistically you're going to be wrong at least half the time. So as long as you know where you're going to be wrong and you can manage that risk, that's the best thing. How about any individual names that you're looking at? What stocks are you looking at right now, Nish?
Well, one of the things that I do every year when I write my big report is I come up with mega trends, right? And then specific stocks within those mega trends. So there's a lot. So I'll see if I can run through it relatively quickly. So first of all, I do still believe that AI is a thing. I mean, I don't think that's going away. I don't see a bubble. It could quiet down a little bit this year. Earnings may not necessarily be as robust, especially in some of the hyperscalers as CapEx has grown. But yet there's still a lot to be looking at. And in particular, I really like hyper automation. So Serve Robotics is one. That's more of drone technology. That's really been doing well. SERV, right? Take a look at that. I really like that one a lot. We also like just the whole SMH space. I still think that you need to look at SMH in general, which is one of my Modern Family. Well, we still say overweight. Now, that's interesting that it kind of failed that line that you put up there. But this would be exactly where a calendar range for January would come into effect. We already have a 1-day range. We want to watch that for an immediate move and then see where it goes in about 10 days.
Yeah, pre-market. I mean, we're bid up. We're actually trying to break out pre-market. So, and we have NEC. We have NEC today, don't we? We do. I think Jensen Wong is speaking, and there's going to be a lot of speakers today.
Right.
So.
And also, I think you got to. I try not to count too much on any one statistic, but ISM should be kind of interesting because it's going to give us some kind of an idea.
Oh, the ISM today. Today, the economic data.
Right, because it's going to give us some kind of idea of whether or not we really are in some kind of economic growth here in the U.S. Because ultimately, that's what this is all about, right? So I think that what's happening in Venezuela with oil is interesting. We know that Trump wants cheaper oil prices. Of course, being sort of a contrarian, I'm watching oil prices itself very carefully.
Can I stop you here, Mish, real quick? When you're talking about crude, one of the things that you're a technician as well, so I think crude's trading really heavy, and I know we're up right now. I'm going to get to an actual chart that I've got drawn all over the place. Let me get to it really fast. Here we go. Crude's been trading extremely heavy. Yes, we're up right now because I think a lot of people are are thinking, wait, I shorted crude, at the open, maybe, after the news, after, the weekend events, then they sit back and realize, oh, it's going to take some time for Venezuelan oil to get production to get online and for it to add to supply. So you're probably seeing a little bit of short covering, but overall, I think crude looks WTI looks extremely weak. Do you think we actually break down eventually?
I look at that chart a little differently, Blake. I see a lot of bottoming action at around $55 a barrel. So obviously
Yeah.
that would be the point, that if it breaks down, we could have a massive move lower. But if it doesn't, we have a tremendous amount of support. If you look at a shorter term chart, it looks like every time we've had a trough, it's been at higher lows. So we're seeing buyers coming in a little bit at little bit higher prices. And I'm really looking at, if you really want to be conservative, $60 a barrel would be my number. If we can get a couple of closes over $60 a barrel, you know how that goes, right? The price always precedes the news. And we
Yeah.
don't know what that is, but we certainly know that we've got more than just Venezuela as a player in terms of the oil market. And even if OPEC Plus isn't the same influential body of government that it used to be in terms of governing the oil price, we still have a lot of problems in the Middle East. Iran and the revolution that's going on in there right now, by the way, that here's our sort of our fired horse, people unrest, people wanting to see change. And who knows what could happen with Iran? We were already seeing threats from the United States and Israel to Iran. So, you just don't know. You just don't know. I mean, that's what makes this so much fun, because every day is different.
Wait, it fun and interesting and always exciting, as you are, Mish. And I've known you now for probably a better part of 6-7 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
And we've done a lot of interviews together. I've always appreciated your work. So I'm gonna pull up Market Gauge right now. Can you tell the traders what you guys do at Market Gauge? What's the best way to follow you, and what your Twitter handle is? I can pull that up actually while you're talking. So.
Okay, well, yeah, and I know that I had a lot more information to cover. So the good news is you can find it. So you're looking at the Market Gauge site. My Twitter handle, by the way, at X, it's not Twitter anymore, is at Market Gauge, which probably, if you want access to me and my content, is the best place to look. And so what I'm going to tell you is that my PDF is up there on my Market Outlook 2026. So the 10 mega trends, we only got to talk to about one, are up there. Yeah, there it is. So you can see that. I actually direct messaged you my Outlook this morning.
I have not seen that just yet.
Yeah. But also we do a lot of free content back at the site. We have, now I want to talk for 2 seconds about that picture you're seeing above my.
This one.
Yeah, this is the most exciting thing that's happening this year. We're doing soft launch right now. If you go to at the Economic Modern Family on YouTube, we are bringing my Economic Modern Family that I've been talking about for 10 years already to life. So that's all the characters, right? From left to right: biotech, semiconductors, Grandpa Russell, Granny Retail, Crypto Bro, regional banks, and transportation. And yeah, I put the real me in there just for fun, but these are going to be our financial literacy this year. So this is going to be my main thing. So I just want people to look out for that. I'll be putting that out much more as our content continues to grow. But our intention is to have an avatar of me at the end that gives you actionable information after you see their emotional reaction in animation to whatever their market condition is that they're reacting to. So
you know what's scary? That picture, my porch of my home in McKinney, Texas, looked just like that house. I was like, I had to take a really good look at it, and I'm like, is that?
Oh, Blake, we went to your house and took pictures.
Yeah, it's so weird. Anyway, no, it's really.
That was
really
actually
neat,
Minnesota, believe it or not, because Granny lives in Minnesota. I have a whole backstory because of the Mall of America, blah, blah, blah. But anyway,
Yeah.
If you want more serious content, going back to the website, because it's good for people to see what we're doing. Go up to where it says Market Beat. Can you go to where it says Market Beat? Yeah, go there. So every week, weekly market outlook, I put some out, is fantastic. Jeff and Keith do it. They're really going to be taking over more of the actual writing. Jeff is going to be doing more of the writing on the daily. But it also gives you a big trading plan, an actionable plan for the week, tells you what's risk on, risk off, risk neutral. It's a fantastic free resource. So that's something to look at as well. And, of course, we have a million products and things like that. But nonetheless, that would be a good way to funnel is one, look out for my cartoons, and two, read some of our free content that comes out under our Market Beat area.
Awesome. Well, Mish, I'll tell you, for me, it's always a great pleasure to sit and chat with you and have these conversations. Make sure you guys all follow Mish. Like I said, she's a friend of mine, should be a friend of yours as well, and a follow that I personally have. Happy New Year to you. And I'm going to be reaching out to you probably over the next couple of weeks to get you back on the Face Show.
Okay, sounds great. Well, great to see you this morning, and thank you everybody who joined in.
All right. Have a great day, everybody, and good luck in your trading today. We'll catch you tomorrow on the Face Show. Have a great day. Happy New Year.